I have here my friend and student Welleres Felix Oliveira. The birth date is January 15th. Star sign Capricorn. Soccer team Flamengo is different. The word for the day is patience. Slogan, quality is necessary. And the band for today is Magic. Welcome to the program. Good
Thanks.
to have you here.
Thanks a lot.
My first question for you is, why is English important for you?
Because the language is important for my personal life and professional principle.
Okay, excellent. Your question for me, please.
What do you more like in the weekend?
What I like the most on the weekend is the time I have to focus in my exercises, the time I have to spend with my friends, with my books, with my family, and of course relaxing a little. I think it's important. What is quality? Since this is your area of activity, what is your definition of quality?
Quality means do right first time
Okay.
for all activities, any activities.
All right. Excellent. Your second question, please.
What does speak English fluently mean for you?
Speaking English fluently means that you have the ability of having a conversation with a person, of understanding this person and expressing yourself. This is speaking fluently. And of course, not just simple conversation. You have to be able to develop a difficult, complex conversation about different topics. I think this is speaking English fluently. And having the experience of speaking with a person that speaks English as the native language. One example is going to the USA and speaking with people that are from the USA, with Americans, and being able to understand and express yourself to those people. This is speaking English fluently. Or watching a movie in English, watching a documentary, TV programs. This is difficult to achieve that level of English. It's necessary practice, it's necessary respect the time. It's difficult to learn, to arrive at that level in just 1 year. It's possible, but you have to work very hard. So this is speaking English fluently. My question for you, question number 3 is, do you consider the university important?
Yes, but sometimes yes, sometimes no.
All right.
Depend of situation.
Yes.
And my situation is important. But I sometimes consider English the most important
Yes.
for me
Okay.
because it's necessary for my functioning company.
Yes. I have exactly the same opinion. I consider, okay, university is important, but not that important. I think that nowadays English is more important for people in companies than the university. English opens more doors. It's my opinion. Of course, I work with English.
Yeah.
I am a suspect to talk about it, but
When the person has the conhecimento,
the knowledge,
technical, and speak English
yeah,
is
fantastic. It's
It's
perfect.
fantastic.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
I agree. Your question?
Okay. What technique do you usually use to teach and learn?
Okay, these are two maybe two different ideas, or no. When the technique I use to teach my students is to create an environment where the student has to produce as much as possible. So the best system for me is this, the private classes, because in this system I can force you 100% of the time. I can ask you questions, I can make you force your brain to produce the information that you need. So this is one technique I like to use. Whereas when you are in a group of students, this is more difficult because the professor, the teacher is speaking all the time while the student is just listening, is not producing. This is one technique I don't like very much. So my technique, Ismael's technique, is the one where I force the student. So always when I can, or as much as I can, I try forcing the student. So I ask you questions, I give you one topic and I try to extract as much as possible from the student. Or in percentages, I would say I speak 20% of the time and I try to give 80% of the time for the student to have this moment, to force, to produce. Because I believe that you only learn when you practice. That's when you learn. So I tell you what to do and I let you do it. And then of course, I as a teacher, and this is my responsibility I think, is to give you all the necessary support in your necessities. So you will start producing, but you commit mistakes, so the teacher is there to help. Hey, this is a mistake, you have to correct. You don't remember vocabulary, so I am there to help you with vocabulary, or give you the independence necessary for you to walk by yourself. I think this is my technique. Force the student as much as possible. And that's the technique I use on myself too. If I want to learn something, I learn best when I force myself more. So talking about English, I study all the time. I am constantly trying to improve. And I see that the best way of improving is by forcing, trying always something more difficult than what I am used to doing. If I stay just in the basic, just in the simple activities, I don't learn. So in order to learn, I have to try difficult things, especially those things that make me scared, nervous. In these moments, I learn more. If I am in my comfort zone, I don't learn. If I am outside of this comfort zone, that's when I learn.
Do you always had this technique?
No, I developed this along the days and the years as a teacher, as a student. As a student, I always did that. I always liked learning, talking about English. This is my area, because the other areas maybe I don't like much. But talking about English, as I always liked or loved English, I was constantly studying English. And every time I saw an opportunity to put myself in the spot and try to do something involving English, a presentation, an interview, an activity, I always did. So I was constantly improving. And as a teacher, I could observe that, especially comparing teaching in classes and teaching in private, when I teach for a group of people, the people are in the comfort zone. So they are relaxed, just listening, just doing the homework. This is good, but is not efficient. Whereas when I am in a private class, I am constantly forcing my student, putting him to speak, develop, to force the vocabulary, to use as many words as possible. So I was developing this technique along the days, along the years, as a teacher, as a student. I had my difficulties in English or in other areas, so I know the perspective of the student. I understand the student, so I can always help the student. And I know that the best for the student is to force, put him in difficult situations. Number 4, what is your motivation?
My family, always. My family.
Okay.
Because it's always for me, all for me, and my life, my son, my daughter, my wife, my family.
Perfect. Next question.
Okay, number 4. When you were a student, what were your greatest difficulties?
For me, talking again just about English, my greatest difficulty was maybe, it's a combination, you know, but maybe listening was difficult, understanding, listening. It was a big barrier for me, the listening. And I remember I was studying and I always liked music. And there was an interview on the internet, on YouTube, and this interview had no subtitles. And I really wanted to understand that interview, and that interview was entirely in English. So I had to force many times, watch the interview over and over again in order to understand. So I believe that listening was difficult. But speaking is also very difficult. But it's not difficult because we cannot do it. It's difficult because usually students don't have much time to develop it. Again, in the groups, you don't have time to speak. I cannot, in a group of 10 people, ask everybody to speak all the time. We will have in a class 5 or 10 minutes maximum to speak. So that's the problem. And then speaking is not difficult. It's difficult because you don't have time to practice. Now, listening can be complicated because listening is something you do not control. Different people have different accents, so it's very hard to understand. For me, it was the listening, absolutely.
My difficult too. But the movies had the text of the translation or no?
I always preferred forcing. So if I watched a movie with the subtitles in Portuguese, I would in the next moment watch this movie again, now with the subtitles in English. And then I would a third time watch this movie without any subtitle. So it was a very fast moment for me, going from watching the movies with the subtitles in Portuguese until watching the movies entirely in English, because I forced very much during this process. What are your dreams?
My one dream, just get a happiness of my family.
Okay.
Just
Give this to your family. This is your
my dream.
dream. Excellent. And your final question for me?
What is the feeling of seeing a student learn from you?
It's indescribable. It's incredible, the sensation of seeing a student being able to speak, to communicate, to do a good job. Is beautiful, is good, is rewarding to see a student receiving opportunities in the market because this person now has English. It's fantastic. I cannot describe, especially because it takes a long time to develop a student. I would say minimum 1 year to have a person really able to communicate, understand the language. And then I know when I start with a student that I have to put a lot of dedication, a lot of effort in order to help that person. And I know that the person has to work very hard for that. There is no magic in this situation. You have to work hard. So I always try my best, and I can see my students always doing their best. So when I see that that person is prepared and that that person is in a real situation, being it traveling or speaking with people in the company or in the classes, it's fantastic. I cannot express in words. It's very good. Having this moment with my students, for me, it's a great moment, a special moment for me. I'm really happy with all my students. Okay, my friend.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Congratulations on your English on this interview, and have a good day.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.